Many years ago, I woke up one morning at 6 a.m., as I usually do, and put a light on at the side of my bed, picked up my journal and my Bible. I wrote in my book, amongst other things, "Lord, thank you for a good night's rest," before going on to read my Bible. As Ray, my husband, began to stir, he kept saying, "I cannot get my eyes open, Nancy. I don't know what is wrong with me. I'm just so sleepy." About 40 minutes later, when Ray was fully awake and beginning to read his Bible, I thought I had better see if it was time to wake my 14-year-old son, Aidan, so that he could get ready for school. I looked at the clock on my phone to discover that it was 2:30 in the morning. I could not believe it. What a mistake to make. I even thought I remembered turning off my alarm. Ray was so relieved that he turned over and promptly went back to sleep. But I couldn't stop chuckling to myself all night after that. It was just so bizarre. I'm sure someone somewhere will have some psychological explanation as to why I woke up at 2:30 a.m. thinking it was a number of hours later, and why a few weeks later I almost did the same thing again. This time, as I reached for the light switch, I put my brain into gear and thought I had better check that it was 6 a.m. When I looked at my phone to see the time, I discovered it was only 1:15 a.m. Ray had a lucky escape that time. You know, there's a man in the Bible who, after a dream, woke up and did something really bizarre. He was so troubled by his dream that he called for the magicians and the astrologers and asked them to interpret it. But he would not tell them what the dream was. They were used to giving the king interpretations of his dreams, but they were terrified when he wanted them to tell them the dream and then interpret it, especially when the consequences of not knowing what the dream was and not knowing the interpretation was death. It was an impossible situation. They had no hope in their hearts of being able to discern or even guess what the dream had been. They told the king that only the gods could do this. Daniel, however, who was in the king's service, wasn't fazed by the king's extraordinary request. You see, he had access to God Almighty, the Mighty One, El Shaddai. His intimacy with his God meant that he could ask the God of the impossible what the dream was. God revealed the dream to Daniel, and he gave the king its interpretation. You can read the story in the Bible in Daniel chapter 2. Intimacy with the king means that he reveals his secrets to you. He wants deeper intimacy with us all. Whenever you are faced with a situation that seems to drain you of hope, remember that the God of hope is more than a match for anything that life throws at you. Let's keep hope burning in our hearts by looking to God Almighty, our daddy, our friend. He loves telling his secrets to his intimates.